All right, great. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Sari Placona. I'm a partner at McManaman, Scotland and Bauman. Um, Bankruptcy, restructuring, out of court workouts, and I'm excited to be here. We're going to be talking about basically going from nothing to something in a case. I will let my co-speaker introduce herself.
Thank you, Sari. Hi, everyone. My name is Adeola Akinrinade. I'm a managing director at Eisner Amper. My experience focuses on distressed M&A, financing, bankruptcy, restructuring, and strategic advisory services for both company side and creditor side advisory. We can help with liability management, cash flow modeling, operational issues, running processes as needed. And, we can also help with evaluation, forensic investigation, and litigation services. Nice to be
Awesome.
here.
Yes. So we were trying to think of something interesting going on. I think we can all agree that things are starting to pick up in the market. Hopefully, everyone's going to get really, really busy soon. But Adiola and I were discussing when we're involved in cases, whether it's from her role or my role as an attorney or counsel to an assignee and an assignment for the benefit of creditors, counsel to a trustee in a bankruptcy, when there's nothing and then there's something, whether you go from like a no asset case to an asset case, or you have a potential buyer and it's, say a low bid, and then you wind up getting a winning bid, which is like three times the amount of the initial bid. I think it's always interesting to make sure that you obviously, based on your fiduciary duties, do your due diligence, retain your professionals such as Eisner Amper in a case, right? To make sure that you really know what the assets are of a case. I'm currently involved. I represent a trustee, um, and the trustee is for two debtors, a husband and wife, and they own a bar. The bar owns a liquor license, and at first we weren't really sure if there was anything in the case. We really weren't even sure if the liquor license was an asset of the debtor since it was owned by the entity. We did file a motion with the court, getting approval that the trustee has a right to step into the shoes of the debtors in terms of um, um, holding a right to the liquor license. And so again, we thought it was like a zero asset case. It went to something. Now we have a liquor license that we're selling for $175,000. I think it's really important to try and be creative and, don't take your first glance at something and say there's nothing there. I know Adiola discussed a case where she was involved with like a stalking horse bid. I'll let her discuss her experience there.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really important because when you sort of think about how do you maximize value to all stakeholders, what are some of the things you should be considering or looking at? There's so many different tools that in a bankruptcy process you can actually take advantage of. And one of the cases that comes to mind that Sarah and I were talking about when we were prepping for this was it was a sawmill case. We were the FA to the committee. We had a stalking horse bid that I was around 30 million or so. And I think what this says is that, with this particular case, it's actually a really great example of how a 363 sale process can really add value to a transaction. 363 allows a buyer to acquire debtor's assets free and clear of, virtually all liens and claims against a debtor. And if memory serves me right, I think the auction was about 6 or 7 rounds thereabout. But ultimately, the winning bid, and it's funny that Sarah, you said 3 times, the winning bid was actually almost 3 times the stalking horse bid in this case. So it was a remarkable recovery at the end of the day to everyone.
And so you did an auction in that case?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting with an auction, and I guess when you started out the auction, you had no idea it would get up to three times the amount, right?
No.
Um, so I can tell you from my experience in an assignment for the benefit of creditors case a few years ago, Oren Klein Auction Advisors, they were our auctioneer, and we were selling a YWCA in Trenton. And we had an initial bid. There wasn't much interest. There was about, I think the first offer was like $200,000. And again, I think you really got to push out the interest, whether it's, LinkedIn, Craigslist, Star Ledger, your auctioneer getting all the marketing materials out there to the right people, knowing the right contacts. We sold the YWCA for over $1 million. I mean, that's pretty great results, for the estate, for the creditors, for the professionals, for everyone involved. So I think, you look at something and you're like, you might say, oh, it's a good first offer. But I think if you really put your efforts in there and you really, press it out to the right audience, you really could do a great job in maximizing the value of the assets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We had actually, it's a bit of an older case now, where we were representing the note holders in this situation. I think one of the note holders knew a foreign private equity firm that had a ton of money, and for whatever reason just fell in love with this brand and was trying to, I guess, leverage the brand and revitalize the brand in foreign markets. And they paid a significant amount of money for the asset, which, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it took our recoveries to, multiple times what we were expecting, which was good. So you just never know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that was like we were trying to figure out what would be interesting to discuss. And I think that was just something that we both realized, that you just never know what's really there. I think first sight, people can get complacent or, oh, that's pretty good. But, sometimes I think you can really maximize the value of the assets if you really put it out there with the right professionals and everything.
Ooh, I'm back on.
Oren is back.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, and obviously, if anyone has any questions or is interested in discussing this, Adeola and I are obviously available and can, speak a little bit more on the topic. But we thought it was a good snippet to give.
Yeah, it's a great topic. It's very relevant today, and like you said, if it wasn't for you smart attorneys and restructuring forensic accountants finding the assets, then I don't think any of us professionals can actually get paid. Right. So, but, there's we need to find those assets. You find them in bankruptcy, you find them in state court. And those are just, great things. And you're also creating value, right? Value for your creditors.
Yeah. Right. You create value of the assets, which kicks back to your creditors, kicks back to your, your distribution. And that's the whole point of the case, right?
All about maximizing value.
All right. So in about, Taurat's gone, but in about literally should be any moment. Oh, we will be going live. Here we go shortly. If you have any difficulty, so you should see if any moment you should see, I think at 12:11, the people icon illuminating, which means that you can now go into the quote networking portion of our event.
I don't see that.
Yeah, because you're still in the. You're still in the. You got to go into the other thing. Remember,
okay.
You got to. So I think if you hit return on the left, on the bottom there, you should be. The people icon will be illuminated, and you'll be up. She's gone. She did it.
Okay. All right. Well,
Adeola, you can do the same thing.
Yes.
Thank you for coming, and I'll see you guys all in the speed networking portion. Thank you very much.